allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call the meeting to order. The village board meeting, November 18th, 2021. Roll call shows everyone is in attendance. Peter is on the phone and Jim is excused. Number 4, agenda changes. Are there any? No? We'll go to 5, consent agenda. A, November 4th, 2021 regular board meeting minutes. B, November 4th, 2021 committee of the whole minutes. C, licenses and permits. There are none. D, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. Are there any questions? If not, I will need a motion.
I will make a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call. Shauna?
Aye.
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 I'll abstain. I wasn't here for the November 4th meeting.
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. There are none. 7, committee reports. There are none. 8, unfinished business from previous meeting. There's none. 9, new business. A, discussion on debt fund 2022 budget.
It's in the packet. Paid off a lot of our loans this year, early in the year. So the only new addition for our loan this year was the 2021 developer incentive loan that was through TID 4 for the S.E. Swiderski project. We're expecting probably another one next year. After they get the 40 units occupancy, they then get the other half. So we'll probably end up having to add that in. So.
Did anyone have any questions?
And that's actually located in TID 4, not in the debt.
No questions? Okay, then we will move to B, discussion on TID 3, 4, and 5, 2022 budget.
These are the estimated TIDs right now. The final numbers I have actually just got in today for the actual tax increment number. So that might be tweaked a little bit because we're getting a little more from the bold we were waiting on for the most part. But other than that, TID 3 doesn't really have anything else added into it right now, just paying off the developer incentives that we have, so. We are, yeah. there is an error in TID 3 now that I'm looking at it. Under Public Works Engineering, there's professional services. There's 75 there that should not be there, and then there's 30,000 under construction that should not be there. That was meant to actually go into TID 4, and TID 4 actually has it in there too, so apologies on that. We don't really have any projects at this time scheduled for TID 3. Looking at trying to find other developers to fill what's there. That's why we're trying to find someone to buy that land over there, and then looking at a few potential developers up in north of bypass there, that 18 acres that the Shark Group owns. But right now we don't have nothing for actual projects. For TID 3. TID 4 is actually where we have that. We have a project in potentially for next year, and that is it's actually on the agenda tonight, potentially. It's going to urbanize right by S.E. Sikorsky there. It's kind of prep for, it'll all kind of come together once the bypass goes in, and then we redo the street. So that's being totally, this would be totally funded through the TID. The village wouldn't have to pay for anything out of it. And that's pretty much it for TID 4. TID 5, nothing as always for now. Still kind of not really bringing in much for income, blighted areas, so.
Does anyone have any questions?
Nathan,
Yes.
Peter here. Give me a location on that Bouchard 18 acres. You said north of the Highway 15 expansion?
Yeah, so it's like right by the school. If you, that little, it's across from Crestview.
Oh, okay. That's the old lamb farm?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And there's 18 acres there?
16 developable.
oh, 16, sorry.
16
Oh,
developable.
16, okay. And it's zoned what?
Zoned R1 right now.
Okay, all right. Thanks, that's all I had.
Anyone else? Okay. Then we'll move to C, consideration and possible action on Outagamie County Mutual Aid Agreement.
That's in your packet. Basically, it's for the fire department for the most part.
Is there any concern on your part for
No,
this? It's
actually,
pretty
it'll
routine.
benefit for us, it's a benefit for
That's
us.
what I assumed.
So we can call anybody we want, don't have to follow our neighbor's cards if we need something extra, we can just call them and direct.
And we have this now?
We don't have Outagamie County
Oh, we don't?
mutual aid, we don't have with the whole county.
Oh, okay,
I
We
was
have neighbor's
curious
cards,
about
which
that,
we can get whoever we want on them, but
okay.
this is above that.
I see.
So it's a benefit for us.
Yeah, so
Okay.
then do you get like a list of what equipment everybody has too?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
already have a list, we already have a list of everything.
Yeah, I've never seen this before, I thought this was pretty great, so, yeah, good to know. So what action do you need from us tonight to make this happen?
To basically authorize the village attorney, Jane, and the village president to sign it.
Okay,
Oh, and, yeah, that should be it,
so the attorney, the clerk, and
the president.
the president. Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the Outagamie County Mutual Aid Agreement and permission for the village president, the clerk treasurer, and the village attorney to sign.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. D, consideration and possible action on Cedar Street.
All right, in your packet, there is a professional agreement for professional service from McMahon, I call it. This is in regards to Cedar Street construction project. What this does is, if you look at the scope of services here, that we are looking at surveying it before we actually do the project. So that we can get all of our ducks in a row to make sure that, hey, the dollar amount that we have set aside for the budget, or if there's any changes, that we're ready to go. So it's what I would call a shovel-ready project. This is not going out for bid for the project. This is basically just doing all the engineering work, getting all of our ducks in a row before that. So we are looking at McMahon here to go ahead and start the surveying aspect of it. This project that we're looking at, I'm not sure if Carl had spoke to you about the project. We're looking at from the water tower to Pine Street. We're looking at upsizing the water main, replacing the storm sewer, the sanitary sewer within that stretch. Included with that is, there is approximately 60, a little over 60% of the sidewalk that's in disrepair, and also curb and gutter. So we're looking at kind of a total reconstruction project of that. The main driver of this is that there is only a 10-inch pipe that goes to Mill Street on the water side of things. So what we want to do is to make that into a quadrant area so that we're able to shut off one block and not 4 blocks if need be. So it'd be new valves and such. There's an existing fire hydrant right where the hairdresser place is. We got to figure out where we're going to actually put that hydrant. We have, I guess, in the past we've had issues with that freezing up. So we want to make sure that that is accessible, especially for the businesses and the homes right there also. Based on the numbers right now, we're looking at about a $250,000 project. That's with sidewalks, curb and gutter, storm, water, and sewer.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we have, and I'm just curious if this survey will also look for, do they determine where things are underground? Because didn't we have it when they redid something, and wasn't there something goofy on Cedar and Nash where things weren't where they thought they were gonna be?
It's most of our streets.
I know.
Yeah.
I know that.
You know,
But it added like an extra expense. I was just kind of curious if this, what do they do to, do they have any way to determine that, or is just sort of you figure it out?
Well, typically you're supposed to have GIS people who actually do that. We have some mappings, but they're not as accurate.
Correct. And if that was the case, then we wouldn't need this service, unfortunately. So it's kind of nice to have this service. It gets our quantities and whatever. I've already did a preliminary thing of this guesstimation of what project would cost. But this is going to solidify this. If anything's wrong, we can always go back to these guys then too.
Okay.
As built. This is something that going into the future, that using an engineering service and that, whatever is documented and things like that, then we can take that information with our inspection and actually put it then on the computer so that we are able to say, hey, this is what's in the ground. Because I don't know what's in the ground here. I know it's, the sanitary is 8-inch. What is it? Plastic? You know, I don't know what it is. Same with the water main.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for us to know what's underneath there.
Yeah.
So this is part of that. And we have a contract with McMahon for our ESRI in regards to that GIS stuff and that. So right now this would go hand in hand with them.
What was it in the venture?
And then with the
Hey,
project,
Craig,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes.
In simple terms, explain the scope of this project.
So it'd be from Pine Street, and if you go back to the west, to the water tower, almost to Briggs Street. We're actually looking at about 25, 30 feet south of Briggs Street is where we're gonna have to tap into. Yeah, a little bit farther to the west, but, or to your left on the screen.
All right, it will not affect the reconditioning we just did on Pine Street?
No, correct. Actually, we're tying into Pine Street.
Okay, all right,
I know the water for sure is stubbed off of Pine Street at a 12-inch pipe. And what we want to do is connect from the water tower, remove the existing 10, which only goes down to Mill Street, and take the 12 and go all the way to Pine Street and connect into where that stub is at.
okay, all right.
And this is where
How does Jim Moeller feel about this? Jim?
we had major water breaks, always on Cedar.
Yeah, I know, and then
Yeah.
if you look at Cedar, it's just
Okay.
patches everywhere,
Yeah.
yeah. That's why I was curious
It
about the
needs it.
location of everything, yeah. Cause
This is an older area of town, and we're trying to, obviously, with Briggs Street, down the road here, we're looking at Mill and Embarrass. What's under the ground, we don't know, and we've had some, we might have a potential on Mill Street of water leaking in there. So we might have a gentleman come in and do some tests and see if we have any possible leaking of the water and the sanitary too. We might have some pretty good I&I with Mill Street also.
Is this project gonna create any assessments for the folks on Cedar?
Well, and I think that's some things I think we're going to discuss at a later date.
Yeah, sooner than later though.
Yes, sooner than later. We've been talking a lot about that, and we'll get back to what we're thinking.
I suspect.
What we envision.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I
yeah.
I
it's
get
just
it,
one of the
I get it. I'm
things,
just curious if we need to kind of, you know,
Prepare
let
those
these
people.
folks know ahead of time, or if this is, we've got kind of a different plan in place.
because we want to do this sooner than later.
Mhm.
I believe in letting people know way in advance.
Yes.
I'm working on some projects now that we're looking at Town and Oak. That's a huge area. You know, I want to look at doing this at least a year, if not 2 years in advance of the approximate costs that are going to be associated with projects. I want to be way ahead of it so that if in fact assessments that are of a larger amount, if we do consider assessments, or whatever it might be, people have that information a couple years in advance at least, you know, a good year to pre-plan, you know. Not a lot of people are rich where they can just, here you go, you know, this is some things we have to really seriously look at.
Do you know how many households that would affect?
In this,
Hand?
in this here, 14,
14,
14,
okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
So then we are looking for a motion to approve McMahon going
Can I
ahead?
interrupt, please?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Craig, in the future, it would be helpful if we had some kind of a map to identify the projects. I don't see anything on here on the packet. I do see other maps that relate to other projects, but it might be kind of helpful.
Absolutely, and I can do that for you.
All right, with all due respect.
okay, then can we move forward with a motion?
If I remember right, it was $3,000.
It's on
See
Craig's,
in the-
it's on Craig's.
do
Oh, it's
if
on
you want me
crazy.
to.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, be the
I
second one
will
down.
make a motion to approve McMahon Engineers for the amount not to exceed $3,000 for surveying the 2022 Cedar Street reconstruction project.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Shawna?
Aye.
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 Peter?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. E, Consideration and possible action on Gibbons Road storm sewer urbanization.
All right. Nathan spoke briefly on this. This is something that I believe Carl had started. This is part of the development that they had looked at. What can we do in this area here? Spruce it up. And sorry, Peter, for no pictures here and that. Or did I throw some pictures in?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. So what we're looking at here is to urbanize this area. Right now, it's just blacktop, goes into a fairly steep ditch, and up to Swiderski's development, it's just it just goes to nowhere, pretty much. So what we're looking at here is the amount of water that comes off here on a rainstorm goes through this ditch. So what we want to do is to put a storm sewer system in. And when we talk about urbanizing it, is also curb and gutter and sidewalks. So what you have in front of you is an estimation from the county in regards to replacement of the two existing 36-inch culvert pipes that are in there for the driveway. We would put a manhole in at Gibbons and 15, put the pipe underground, and this would go to our corporate limits to the north on Gibbons, and then empty out into the storm ditch on the Hortonia side. We do not have the authority nor the property that is there, we cannot do any work necessarily because that is in the town of Hortonia. The county was going to talk to that property owner and see if they wanted something done with their property. But what we would do is we'd go right to the end of Soderski's development or at our corporate limit on that side of the road. That's where we would end it.
Craig, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is sidewalk going within current right of way, or would you have to acquire?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we go with that. So what we're looking at here then is in 2025, the connection of our sidewalks. That is our project in 2025, along with the county in rehabilitation of 15 or Old 15 or Main Street, whatever that name of that's going to be. So then we can then install sidewalks from this development, then connection into ours. Because right now there is no sidewalks in this area. And Peter, the attorney asked about if the sidewalks are going to be within the right of way. Yes.
Okay.
On this map, Craig, where does Hortonia begin?
Okay. You wanna-
Like, I'm looking at the tracks, so.
Okay, see where that red dot is on the screen here?
Yeah.
All right, that driveway, actually right there, that black line, Hortonia, then
The
on
horse
the
farm?
left-hand side.
The
yep,
horse
The
farm.
horse farm is
The horse
Hortonia?
farm is in Hortonia.
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Yep. Now, where it's actually kind of goofy here in a way, where it says 0617 on the map here,
Mhm.
that is in Hortonville. So where truly is we don't know. We believe from that road going to the tracks, or from that boundary line of the horse farm, going to the tracks, Gibbons Road is actually Hortonia.
Okay.
So, and then we don't have any part of that section through there. That's what I've gathered. So it actually
Maintaining that
stops right
portion
there.
of the road?
What's that?
Who has been maintaining that portion of
The
the road?
county maintains. Well, Hortonia, the county's contracted to do the maintenance for Hortonia.
Through Horton.
So the storm drainage, does it affect the railroad property at
No,
all?
it would not.
Okay.
that was something with, in speaking with the county in regards to, we have to ensure that it's not going to,
Well, I've seen it where, like on Mayflower, where,
Oh,
where
yeah.
you've gotten flooding and it washes out an entire culvert and you lose the track. So, yeah, I'm
This-
just kind of curious.
this area here is very susceptible to flooding.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, you'll see, we're gonna look at obviously putting in curb and gutter and then paving Gibbons. We need to channelize that water.
That ditch,
There's a lot of water that comes down through there.
that ditch on 15 used to be much deeper. They filled it all in. It's-
Yeah.
I live in the house on Spruce and used to be able to walk underneath the highway to go from my house to,
Because of
Parking lot.
development, because of certain things in it, yes, it's, the water's channelized more now
now
than
it's
it ever
stuck in that
has
little
been.
tiny spot, yeah.
Yeah.
Have we reached out to Hortonia to see if they wanted to do something with us on this?
So I pushed the county several times.
Okay.
To have a conversation with Hortonia. I have an idea, and let's see what happens with that. So, like I said, we don't have the authority, I can only suggest, but the county has to then notify Hortonia or talk to Hortonia
Okay.
with this project. So hopefully, they have done it, but as of right now, I don't think they have.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to do unjust for the horse farm.
So when are we going to be thinking of doing this project?
This project here, what we would like to do is, while the weather is somewhat good here, is actually put the pipes in. The manholes, the pipes and that, within the next couple months here, provided we have the weather to do this. And then in spring, we would look at spring and summer, depending, we'd look at then the rest of the urbanization on that. Like I said, sidewalks, I would, and that'd be up to you guys, but I wouldn't plan on doing that until 2025 for sidewalks. Then we can match it in with the project.
Are there any questions for Craig? If
Yeah,
not,
yeah, I do. Hey, Craig,
Yes,
can you positively identify the demarcation point on this map between the village of Hortonville and Hortonia?
yes, I can. All right, do you see on the top of the page on that map, it says pond overflow pipe?
Yes.
Okay, there's an arrow going to an orange line. All right, just to the top of that, and it doesn't show on this map specifically the boundary or the property line of that horse farm. It's just above that, okay?
Prior to the tracks?
Actually, prior to that driveway.
It's pretty much that
Oh,
driveway.
okay.
So that
Okay.
driveway is approximately 10 feet off of the property line of Swiderski's development.
So the horse farm is actually in the town of Hortonia? Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. That's all I have.
okay, then we would need a motion. Which is on Craig's sheet.
So can I just clarify something, Craig?
Sure.
So by the motion, it says to approve Outagamie County for the amount. Are we, who's, is
Outagamie County, this is this would be
their prior?
their project.
Okay.
So, I guess I didn't say this, not only it's gonna be, done with the TID, we have cost savings, with the county,
Okay.
for maintenance and whatever, we've had some savings. So a portion of that savings is then going to go towards this project. So in lieu of that, the county would be doing the project versus a contractor. or whatever,
So our cost would not exceed 76,000?
Oh, yeah.
Am I reading it correctly?
Correct.
Kids cost.
The TID's
Pardon me?
cost,
TID's cost,
yeah,
okay.
the TID's cost.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will make a motion to approve Outagamie County for the amount not to exceed $76,443.36 for installation of stormwater systems starting from State Highway 15 to the village corporate limits, the east side of Gibbons Road.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, Shawna?
Aye.
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 Peter? Peter, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I lost you for a minute.
Okay, we were doing roll
On what motion?
on the motion to go ahead with Gibbons Road.
Understood. Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, then we will move to F, discussion on Main Street multi-model.
So this is just about the, basically the trail that's coming from Greenville into Hortonville. It's gonna stop at our village line on one side, and then the DOT, I believe, is picking it up in Hortonia. So the question we have is if you want us to look at expanding that all the way through the village, which we kind of started doing plans for, or to just let it stop, I guess.
I thought the plan was always to have it connect and keep going.
Yes.
So I think we need to figure out a plan and
So
pricing.
we have a few plans for it. We've kind of been discussing it. It's basically gonna go along the front on the south side of the street on Main Street. It could potentially at some point tie into Alonzo Park. But basically we're looking at shrinking the street. You would almost you'd have to take in, basically it'll work if we have a 10-foot on the south side, or a 12-foot bike lane, which is the same that's coming in from Greenville, so that it'll stay the same size basically. The only thing we would have to change is basically shift the road up, and then no parking on Main Street until the downtown. So if you do that, this south side would actually end up gaining about 10 feet or so, is what we estimated, of actual land, so that they would actually have a little more parking, all
With
the
a
way
path
through.
going through it.
Right. So, basically, that's the only way we can really get into the downtown, because we don't own anything along the lake, other than from like right here, and I think we have an easement through here, but it's very tiny and it's not big enough. So, the idea in the downtown is to have it go through the back alleys through here, so that you can still have parking along the streets in the downtown, connecting into the Opera House down here, and then into our park here, to come around, and then just stay on the south side pretty much the whole time. Down here, and we were debating whether or not to have a cross here or not, but I think at this point we're gonna just continue on the south side, because the county picks it up right over here, by the industrial park, supposedly.
So I heard, and I might have missed it, Nathan, so the south side on Main.
Yep.
I heard you say no parking, but then I heard something about more parking, so I just,
So each of the south side property, so there'd be no parking on in Main at all. But the south side properties, because of the way that we have to push the road north more, is gonna end up getting.
Their driveway will be 10 feet longer
Right.
to get, because you're gonna eat up some of the road. So it'll gain 10 feet longer driveway with the path going through it, so that'll gain essentially an extra parking stall.
so nobody's yard is getting smaller on Main Street. It is, the
Right.
road is gonna be The road's actually gonna be narrower.
It's shrinking, it's narrowing down, which will also help with speed.
Mhm.
When you have wider roads, people speed more. So you shrink it down, and basically it'll slow down traffic as well.
So there won't be any parking starting where?
The beginning of the downtown, so it'd be on, Oak.
So how is that going
Nash,
to affect
sorry.
people trying to turn on any of those roads? Because you won't be able to go around any of those people.
Well, if it's, the first time you could turn would be Nash.
Yeah,
there's
I
no-
mean,
You wouldn't be able to
technically,
pass
right-
them anymore.
I mean, technically, right now, you're not really supposed to
You're
pass
not
them either.
supposed
Tell that to every car that goes by
No, I
there.
So then is the plan then too, so currently there's no parking in front of my house because they
Right.
added that right
Right.
go through lane. When this eventually becomes a four-way stop down there, is the point is not to have,
Parking.
well, not to have the parking, but not to have like 3 lanes of traffic. Now it's just gonna be down to 2?
No, there'll be 3. At that intersection, oh yes, that will be 3,
Okay.
yeah. That'll stay wide through there. We can't really put the path in, per se, realistically, from the BP station on the corner. We'll have to watch it if we're able to, because of the old BMO building there also, and how that is. If we may not be able to put that path in there because of where the buildings are sitting, where the pumps sit, so on and so forth. I think that intersection's gonna stay pretty much the way it
That
is.
shouldn't be expected there, because you're adding sway.
Right.
So you're
Yes.
adding, you're giving more space, that shouldn't affect that side, because that's the side you're gaining more grass in the front.
It's
But
this,
that intersection there is really imperative that you keep it a certain width, so we'll see what we may have to do within that.
Yeah, if you
I
could
didn't
watch
scale it or whatever,
school buses and semis turn, you
that's
you
a
know
huge
the
I
thing.
get it.
with, yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
nice realistically if we're able to get to
Hope
Ash
not.
Elm.
I mean, at that point, it just connects to the sidewalk, you take the sidewalk, till you could cross the street, go to the alley and call it good.
Mhm. There's a lot of foot traffic right now, and I think that
Yeah.
would be pretty cool. But you'd be still keeping a sidewalk on the north side, correct?
Yes, correct,
Mhm.
yes.
And then
We
when
would
would,
not
shovel.
eliminate that.
where would the trail head south then down behind the buildings? At Nash?
so unless we can get an easement through,
Uh-huh,
then you could do it through the Veterans Park here, and then
Okay.
have them come down and potentially talk to these people about allowing us to have a path this way, so it's not going in front of their building. That might be a way that we can do it.
They might buy into that.
Right, so, to be honest, it's probably better for them to have traffic funnel, or bike traffic funneling through there for them. People stopping for drinks or whatever, but I don't know.
okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's kind of a steep, like a hill back there right now.
Yeah, it's,
The other thing to talk about is with that, we would have to probably, buy some other equipment, and it's gonna increase maintenance costs. So just keep that in mind because of snow removal, and everything else, so. We don't have estimated costs on that necessarily yet, but that's just something to keep in mind for doing a multimodal trail that has a 12-foot bed, so.
I think that it's important to have it myself, just for the,
Well, I think it's
Village for-
ridiculous to have it end and then
right.
Yeah.
start, I mean, that just seems weird. But I think that we definitely need to see what we can do around the south side of that and see if, I think that's a better option, to have it go through the park and then come back up through.
Yep.
But I think that we just need to look at it, come up with solutions and start budgeting for whatever we need to do to maintain.
So the other thing we could do, is potentially send letters to people if they would be willing to allow bike access, a bike access path through by the lake. I doubt anyone's gonna go for it, but I guess it doesn't necessarily hurt to see if someone would, or if people would.
I think you're gonna have a harder time doing that than having it go through Veterans Park and then just that couple businesses.
Oh, I'm sure, but I guess it's in our plans, in our, capital improvement plan, or not capital improvement plan, in our 2035 plan,
Strategic plan.
our comp plan,
Yeah.
to have it wrapped around the whole lake,
Mhm.
but I don't
Maybe we wouldn't like that.
Yeah,
Is there lake access?
Oh, I know. I doubt it too, so.
it would be nice to wrap this into Wheel Wash, but, yeah, it's,
There's other ways we could potentially do that in the future. We can talk about it at a different time.
Yeah.
You've looked
With
at
this back, going through the back way and then doing a potential bridge back here
because people take Wheel Wash, like,
at the south
we
side.
take it from Hortonville and go.
There's
we
one
lead
owner
on to
here
the Friendship Trail and,
that owns up here as well, and then there's one other owner here.
Yep.
So, if you could convince both of these two owners to sell a portion of their land to us, we could go all the way from our park here and then continue the multimodal trail around through here. And then you would need a bridge, but you could do a bridge potentially across to here.
I think that's a secondary part of the project for sure.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's way
Let's
further
get it through
down the
town,
road,
man, let's
'cause-
just get it through town.
Right, right.
When you say multimodal trail, what do you mean by that?
walk and bike.
Okay,
That's it.
okay,
Um,
Not
motorized.
ATVs.
Thank you.
no ATVs, no
okay.
electric
snowmobiles.
bikes. I don't believe, certain
Well-
electric bikes,
That's
I
the
don't
bad.
know if will be allowed on, I
Well,
don't know.
I guess pedal assist, good luck stopping. So,
Yeah, I think
but
there's more and
yeah,
more
for
of
the most
those.
part,
Yeah,
But no snowmobiles,
no.
No motorized.
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Hey, Nathan,
Yes.
this is Peter, of course. I'm at a disadvantage here because you're pointing to a map that I don't have access to. But if you're talking about property east of the lake that is owned by Pat Cosino,
Yes.
okay, I approached him, and a number of years ago when I was first on the board about relinquishing some of that property to us for this purpose, and his response was absolutely not. So, it's all in good faith. We could probably continue to do so, but his response to me was very simply, not in my lifetime.
Well, times
Just
change.
kind of an FYI.
Like I said, it's not for a long time anyway. So,
Right.
You're looking at
but doesn't hurt to
When you talk about the two properties, Pat Cosino owns, I think, the majority of it. I don't know who the other property owner is. I think, to the north.
It's actually, it's the one where that Lakeview kind of runs into. It's owned by Heather Feltz.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, I think some people know her. So I'm sure if we can get Cosmo on board, we might be able to get her on board. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I can work that angle. I have in the past. Pat and I grew up together. We've been friends for a long time. Anyway, that's for the future, as you said.
Yep.
And nothing really rules out for the future too, just to simply go across the lake, not all the way across, but I think there's,
And it's a larger stretch.
that's a very large stretch, but
Yeah.
that would be a very big
It was
project.
talked about a few
That'd
times
be
with
awesome,
with the Ayers team that came in. We discussed it a few different times. It's just
but
because we own this land, this piece right here, and then we have access easement too. But it kind of goes through someone's garage. So
Well, I was thinking like from like Alonzo,
Mine to
Might
that
need
lot
some
in their
repair.
garage, it's cool.
Bike repair.
yeah.
You could set up a bar in there, we could get another liquor license.
Too bad there's no train trestle that goes through here, that we could just use the pylons from the old train trestle,
That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
That's what a lot of those cool trails are, yeah.
well, I
Okay.
mean, otherwise you could always do it to here as well, to our boat launch over there. If we don't want to bring it down to here, you could potentially, I mean, you're talking very expensive bridge, but at least it gets you somewhat into the vicinity of the trail.
Get all the big fish from the bridge. All right, so what are you looking for, Nathan? Just to sort of a head
I guess,
nod?
no, I mean, just talking to you guys are on board with,
Just keep doing the research
Plan-
on it and
planning
figuring
it
it
and
out.
stuff like that, yeah.
Getting feedback, so on and
So-
so forth.
Thanks for the update.
It'd be nice to give people options of like what they think and then, go from
Mhm.
there.
yeah.
Mhm.
Get kind of a feel from the
Mhm.
citizens.
And there could even be citizens out there that maybe would also help fund a project like this.
Yeah, I mean, right now, so the TID 4 is gonna cover all of TID 4's property up into, I think it's into Cherry Street is where, or actually, no, it goes to the bridge. And then the downtown TID potentially could take on half of the cost of everything in that area.
But then you got lighting and you've got garbage receptacles along the way. Like there's all kinds of things that need to be considered along that process. We don't want to not have those things otherwise.
There's-
Right, I mean,
Those are
TID 4 will have more than enough money to potentially,
Cover all that.
oh, in its area, yes, 100%. We'll actually have, right now, we're estimating that we'd have left over $500,000, so that we would have to close
The
it.
equipment you need to maintain it, all that kind of stuff.
I, that can't be, it's gotta be specified stuff, and that's not.
No, what I'm saying is for the funding from
Right,
people.
right, no, I agree. We're looking at grant options as well. I'm meeting with MSA next week to talk about grant options in the downtown corridor and for the trail system. So we're gonna be meeting with them too. It's just getting as many options for funding as possible.
And does the greenways, is that the correct term for the trails in the box? Would
I know
they
which
have
ones you're
fund?
talking about.
Yeah.
Those are
That might be an
options
option.
as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing this.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we'll move to G, consideration and possible action, pressure washer.
That one is mine. I give you a quote in your packet. We've have had some issues here even before I came on board in regards to the pressure washer. The guys have been working on it. It's a HOTC system currently. They've been working on it, trying to fix it continuously. It keeps breaking down. As of a couple weeks ago on that, it's starting to ooze out plastic parts. So what I have found that with this HOTC, it is a light commercial HOTC cleaner that we have. To go to the next level, that HOTC, sorry I don't have this in here, but the HOTC to replace existing one here, the parts to replace this would exceed what a new one would cost. And obviously trying to get parts for this is impossible. So knowing vendors in the state of Wisconsin, HOTC and also Beaver they're comparable, but Beaver is a little bit better when you look at the systems. So I had them quote me what we are looking at, and that's the B4 2000. That should be sufficient for us. We don't really need to go to industrial strength and things like that.
What is this used for?
It is used for several different things. What a pressure washer does is our equipment,
Okay.
floors, and what the guys are doing and using this for is also in the sewer plant. Is spraying down the floors, equipment and stuff, that is grimy and whatnot. Part of your maintenance of not only the wastewater plant, water, Department of Public Works, you're looking at cleaning equipment. We can't just do it with a regular hose. Sometimes you have to pressure wash the grime and the grit and everything off. So that's what this machine does. Very integral part of maintenance is keeping your stuff clean. We have old equipment. That's the unfortunate thing. And to preserve our equipment for a longer period of time, we need to start doing a better job in keeping our equipment cleaner. That is a picture up what it would kind of look like. The barrel underneath that is soap. That not very much soap goes into the system. You can regulate it. It's hot water or cold water. So if you can't use hot water on something, then you can use cold water at a high pressure. Or if you need to steam clean something, if you have bearings or whatever, especially on the wastewater end of it, when you have bearings that need to be steamed and cleaned. And also, the current one is electric only. So to fire the burner on this, we use diesel fuel. The new one here would be tapped into our natural gas system.
Did you ask for more than one quote?
I
We have.
I lost you somehow.
Yep.
So I reached out to Hotsy and no, they did not get me a quote.
Okay.
Because they're having a hard time getting parts for this. Beaver is actually also in Plover, Wisconsin. Hotsy is down by Milwaukee, and their service in that actually comes out of Chicago. Beaver services, they have several machines within the community here, some of the industrial commercial places in town here. So they do, if need be, they can come and service our machine also. Or if we have a problem with it, they can fix it. They're here in town anyway. So I think that would be a good service to have here in town versus having something out of Chicago and we're not getting any parts for it, maybe for a week or whatever.
So you're looking at the 78.95. What's the additional components?
The additional on this,
Is that for the installation or what?
you'll have installation, the power venting, that's $1,400. We have to actually core drill into the wall and put a power vent in for this. The 35 feet, that is to tap into our existing natural gas. The 100 feet by 3/8 pressure hose, this is actually to go from this fixed location into our screw room. We can actually go across the parking lot and go into our screw room and keep that clean into the screw press. So that would get that, it would go from where that spot is all the way to the blue, if you guys are familiar with down there, the big blue tower that we have for storage. Core drill use obviously is on this, and then the labor to install that. So that does come up to $10,700. So with the added extra, but the unit itself is that's $7,895.
Is it possible to sell the old one to offset the cost? I mean, that someone else would pick it up and
You
do
do whatever
the repairs?
do whatever with, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. I think, if we go this route, from the future and anything we have, we'll see how we're going to get rid of our equipment. I'll come back to you and say, hey, I'm looking at, either putting this out for bid or whatever. So this piece of equipment, if we have some other stuff, and I'm kind of cleaning house a little bit and seeing what we have that we can get rid of, that we could either auction off, or what have you out there. We do have the ability for Craigslist and I don't know so much about Marketplace, but some different avenues that we would be able to get best bang for our buck for something. How much can we get for this in the repair or in the state? I don't know. It's a crapshoot. So Wisconsin surplus is one of our biggest things where we can put something on, and so.
Ally did that with things in the library, and it was surprising how things sold, so.
Oh, things
Yeah.
can go for this, or
You
it
didn't
can go
think-
for this and
Things that
surprise
she
you.
didn't think we'd get rid of, so I would agree.
Yeah.
Give it a shot to,
Yeah. So then, is there safety equipment that you have to purchase to be used with this?
No,
They don't use safety equipment when they're using this machine?
no, you wouldn't need to.
Well, eye protection.
Safety
Eye
shields.
protection,
Yeah,
yeah,
Obviously.
eye protection,
yeah,
pretty much.
yeah.
And the
So
majority of the
just-
guys are wearing eye protection the majority of the time down here anyway,
Just
so,
your normal,
yes.
okay,
So you don't need anything special, no.
okay.
You got the money for this, Nathan?
Hmm?
You got the money for that?
Water sewer side, we do, but
I don't know,
on the village side, that's a question. The water sewer side, we do.
So along, kind of tying in with Jack's question, so this needs to be purchased before the end of the year, or could this be a budget item for 2022? I don't know if it's just
I think
six of
we
one,
could,
half a dozen of the other, or?
personally, I would rather wait to, do an official purchase until we get closer to the end of the year to see where we're at in the accounts.
Yeah.
I think we'd have leftovers, but I can't say for sure. We haven't been able to get down to the actual dollar amounts yet, to drill down into what's, because every December, sometimes we get yearly bills
Yep, it's kind of.
in that are not thought about, so we haven't gone through yet to make sure. So
Would that
that's
give
why
us-
I don't feel comfortable yet saying that we have enough.
Would that give you a little more time, Craig? And I get it that if somebody's not responding to you to give you a quote, but would there be, you
Several
know,
things.
I get it, you know, because we're having a hard time getting quotes on things too, so I don't know, I mean, I guess I have to follow Nathan's thought of maybe seeing where we're at that end of the year, but,
Oh, absolutely. I think this is not gonna happen tomorrow. This can't happen tomorrow anyway.
I think we should try to get more quotes, if we possibly could. I mean, since you do have time now, if we table this for now.
Sure.
Yeah, I sure can try. Like 2 weeks now, I've been waiting for Hotsy to get back to me on that. I've got a few other things that I'm waiting. So hopefully,
And those are the only two places?
when you look at these pressure washers and that, yes, unfortunately.
Okay,
Otherwise, you're looking at industrial, then into the car wash side of things and stuff. We are not going that route. Or truck mounted equipment. No, that we
How
can't
old
afford
is-
something like
how
that.
old is our old one? I mean, how long do we expect this to last?
This, in my opinion, should last you 12 to 15 years.
Okay,
I can't control it.
Our other one that we have here now, I believe that is about 10,
okay.
is what that one is.
So what are everyone's thoughts? We,
Table it
I
till next
think that,
meeting?
I think,
do you need like a motion to just defer this, or do we just
Just put it back on the agenda for.
put it on a future agenda,
Mhm.
towards closer to the end?
What's the time frame we're getting it once you order it?
4 to 6 weeks.
Really, that quick?
Oh yeah, no, actually, they build these themselves. So it's a quick turnaround for them, so that's a plus. So, yeah, we should be able to
put it on the
get
next
with them
meeting.
then, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for all that information, Craig.
Okay, then we will go to H. Consideration and possible action, police server.
I can take this one. Our police department is in need of a new server. A server normally lasts about 7 years. Ours we purchased in 2014. We're getting to the point where by April of 2022, we will not be able to warranty it anymore. So therefore, if something breaks on it, we would have to wait. The parts aren't sitting on a shelf anymore. So we would have to wait for the parts to be replaced. The server operates our police department. If we don't have a server that's functional, we aren't able to run our dispatch, or emails, anything like that. So, just looking to see if you have any other questions for me on this.
So the other thing is, we did run it past Jim. He had a few concerns with the first bid, and we've kind of gone back and forth with Todd and Jim. The things that Jim brought up was the RAM size. Basically, he was wondering why we needed 64, and basically it's because from what we've been told, it's state mandated for police departments to have it at 64 for RAM, I guess. The other question he had was on the rack size. That was initially at a 24U rack. Jim questioned that. He suggested a 6 to 12. After Todd came in and we looked at it, we're suggesting an 18 rack, just because I don't know if he realized we actually have some of our stuff on the ground right now that's not actually on the attached server cabinet. So this would put some of the stuff up off the ground, and then the stuff that they're adding in here. And the other thing that we all talked about was the Microsoft Windows Server 2022 is actually out now, and he questioned that, and he also kind of answered his own question. Basically, sometimes it's based on the software that's the state's on. So until the state's on 2022, we really can't have ours on 2022. So
Do we always go through corporate network solutions, or is there other vendors that
since I've been here, that's what we go through. I don't know.
Just for the record, when I was in Cheyenne, we ventured from Corporate Network Solution to another company. And if I were at Cheyenne, I'd probably go back to Corporate Network Solution. A lot of people have kind of like went out to test the waters to kind of see as far as pricing and stuff like that. And Corporate Network Solutions just has the experience and the knowledge that they've been in business for 30 years. A lot of agencies are using them, so.
I was just questioning, because
Yep.
one quote.
Great.
Basically, and if they're gonna work on it, it needs to be bought through them. So it's like
I get that.
the IT, it'd be us going out and looking for new IT, which we could look at some point if you guys would want us to just get comparables. That's always a good thing to do, I guess, but
We've really never had any issues with corporate network. So, I mean, they've always been a good company for us. I mean, it doesn't hurt to someday go out, but at this point, if we need to act on this, we may need to approve this tonight.
Is this,
the longer we wait, of course, the issue is getting it
Yep.
currently.
And
The equipment is gonna take a long time.
And the cost of the server, the first one that we got was $400 cheaper from item number one, so 22,000, or 2,250
Yeah, thank you.
was at, and just recently was at 17, so, yeah. So the price is going up.
so same question we had for Craig, do you have the money for this in the budget?
This would, we would not receive this until next year. It would come out of the CIP.
Okay.
We have funds that are set aside, 12,000 that are set aside for a computer.
Okay.
So we would be under that 12,000.
And by approving this, if we approve this tonight, this locks in this price then with them, regardless of
It
when
locks
this?
in this price, they would order it, and then they would not bill us until after January 1st.
Like,
It have to be installed,
yeah,
or they could charge you.
yep, but at least it would be at this price, and I suspect prices are gonna go up.
And it's gonna start taking longer and longer to get it. That's not getting any shorter, I can tell you that right now.
So you're looking for some kind of motion, is what that, Nathan?
We would need a motion.
If no one else has any questions, I can make a motion then. I will make a motion to approve a quote for the Hortonville Police Department server from Corporate Network Solutions in the amount and not to exceed $8,968.
I'll second.
Roll call, Shawna?
Aye.
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 Peter?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, then we go to I, consideration and possible action on the purchase of Badger books.
In your packet was the Badger book pamphlet that tells about Badger books. Basically, it's a electronic poll book. So it's like an iPad that voters would check in on. Instead of signing their name in the poll books, the paper ones, it would be on the iPad. It also does registrations and absentees. This came out in 2017. And since then, I think there's 88 communities, 76 communities who currently use them.
Has it been easy for all people to use it?
Yes. The people that have used them, the election inspectors, older ones, said they would not want to go back to a paper poll book.
Okay.
Right now, for all of the absentees, like for the presidential, there was about 156. Those all have to be, well, they don't have to be, but we pre-number them before, which takes almost the whole day last time, 2 people. There's just a lot of extra work that goes into elections before and after, and this would really streamline it. All the voter registrations, we have to manually enter all those, give them credit for voting. This would all be done. The people would put in their names, and it's the whole, what happens is I put the whole whiz vote system on a little flash drive and then put it inserted into the Badger books like the day before the election. So it's not hooked up to the internet at all, which I think is people's fear, that
It
it's
is, yep.
hooked up to the internet, but it's not. The only time it is at the end of the night when we modem it to the county.
So basically, it's making everything more secure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you eliminate voter numbers. It does it automatically, and you can have like 4 simultaneously working in the room, so you could have 4 lines of people, instead of right now how we split the poll books, A through L and M through Z. You would eliminate all that. You can go to anyone. So, it's pretty slick. We went and Greenville had a demonstration a couple weeks ago, and we went and asked all our silly questions, and it's what's coming.
Did Carrie go with you by any chance, or not?
Carrie did not go with
Okay,
us.
but you felt pretty good about it.
Lauren went.
Okay.
Nathan went.
Okay. Yeah, whatever, I think, because working the polls with you, you know how it is. Anytime things go more electronic, people are
Freak out.
concerned that there's a hookup to the internet.
Right.
So if we do go with this, I think it'd be great to have verbiage out there, signs
Yep.
indicating.
I agree. Even the, what do you call it? The big electronic ones that just mark the ballot. People were afraid to use them in the beginning because that's
Right.
hooked up to the internet, but it's not.
Right, because I think I answered that question a few times at working the polls.
So if we were to purchase these, the lead time is, I think I talked to her today and she said potentially April or May of next year. That's how far out they are. But we're hoping to get them before the August and the November gubernatorial. Have time to work on them, train them, and train the workers. So it's
So
entirely
then
up to you. It's not a need, but it would streamline.
So then
Elections
these
process.
2 quotes that you have,
It's both of those combined, because one is actually the server, but that can also be used as a Badger book, so it's 5 total, so it's 4 Badger books and then the server. So it's really 5. So,
We're just over 10 grand.
yes. And it's cool, they all come with a scanner, so you can scan the driver's license. I mean, it's yeah, it eliminates the guesswork out of a lot of things.
Well, Go ahead, Jim.
This would be a budget item for next year then, or?
CIP.
Does this reduce the number of poll workers?
Yes, it
Jim?
does.
Okay. You said that quickly.
Well, and I was, I put out my request for who wants to work next year, and I think I have a dozen, including municipal workers, so that's a lot less than previous years.
So then the total is 10,155.
Yes, that's
If I
what I-
added that correctly. okay.
Yes, that's the whole, everything comes with the scanners, the server.
And purchasing from PDS, Paragon.
Yes. That's basically, we don't really have a choice with who we go with through the Wisconsin Elections Commission. This is who's handling it. And then there's no additional costs after this, as far as I'm aware of, right? I don't think there are.
So
You
in
come
the-
on a stand, and then the printer, there's a printer, no, a detached printer, where you get your tally slips, so we don't have to purchase tally slips anymore either, so that's a reduction in costs.
So on this PDS quote, the bill is to the Wisconsin Elections Commission, but it's through Paragon Development. Should the motion say Wisconsin Elections Commission or PDS?
No, PDS.
So there's no kind of maintenance at all?
There's a
No, there
4-year,
would be,
it says there's a 4-year extended service agreement for parson labor. So would we have to renew that after the 4 years, or how does that work?
I would think so. I guess I'm not sure on that. Nathan, do you know?
No, it never
Yeah.
came up. It's something we
I
can
mean, it's
get,
cheap, it's like $120, but
Yeah.
I mean, we can get the information on it.
But there again, are we on a timeline
Yeah.
that we need to approve this to go ahead?
Preferably, I mean, you want to at least have one election before the November, so you're not
Yeah.
testing it out during a large election,
Right.
so.
That would be good.
I would just like, I mean, no matter what we do tonight, I would say we need to find out
Yeah,
what we need to do so that we
if the
can
maintenance cost is
renew, something we need to
substantial,
renew.
I think we will bring it back.
It shouldn't be, I mean, right now it's $120 for the
I think
5 years.
anything over 500 I would bring back
Right.
for maintenance costs.
One thing it does too, if someone comes in to vote and they literally live in Hortonville or somewhere, if they look up their name on there, it will tell them you're in the wrong polling place, you need to vote at Town of Hortonville. Which now sometimes people sit down to register to vote and they don't realize they
all
live
that
in, they have a Hortonville mailing address, so they come here.
Right.
This would tell them, this is where you need to vote. It's pretty slick.
It does speed up a lot on the back end too, for Jane's time and getting because otherwise we have to manually hit each person that if they voted in the election or not.
Right.
So this does it automatically for us, so that'll speed up time, so.
I would say just go find out what the maintenance, because for the 5 units, it'd be $600 if it stays at the 120 price, so just
Yeah.
my thing. And it's still cheap for 4 years, but
Any other questions? Otherwise, we would need a motion to go ahead.
I'll make a motion to purchase Badger books through Paragon Development Systems, also known as PDS, in the amount and not to exceed $10,155.
I'll second.
Roll call, Shawna?
I
Aye.
Alright,
Aye.
Aye.
Peter?
Yay.
Motion carried. J, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussions?
I just wanted to ask if we, and I don't know how we would go about this, but a number of communities are looking at environmental and sustainability concerns when they move ahead with projects. And I kind of brought this up to Nathan, but just so we're aware of any impact, environmental impact we're making on different projects, and that we keep that in mind. I think we are, but some communities have committees, some places have mission statements that they're going to look at sustainability and environmental impact. And then the other thing is, concerning all people, you know, people with disabilities, age, seniors, when we're looking at projects, going forward. And I don't know how that would be on the agenda, but I just wanted to bring that up, if it would be
I mean, are you trying to
form a
like
committee.
create a committee of some sort, or what? I mean,
I can do more research on it if you want me to see what other places are doing and bring it back, but I just wanted to put it out there, so,
just let us know
okay,
and we'll add it.
okay.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Anything else?
I have a question. Did Peter say A or nay? Did Peter say nay to that?
No.
He said,
Oh, I
He
thought
said
it was-
yay.
I thought
he
it
said
was
nay.
I thought it was nay.
Did you say nay?
I thought he
Peter,
said.
did
Peter,
you
what was your
say-
vote on the last, on the Badger Bucks?
Nay, negative.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
thank you.
Okay, then we move forward to number 10, report of village officials. A, clerk treasurer.
My report was in the packet. I don't
Are
think I
there
have
any
anything to add to that.
questions for Jane?
Oh, I distributed the paperwork to all the incumbents,
Yeah, I think.
if they want to run for the next term.
Excused and be done. Do we have to hire him? It's weird.
Apparently didn't like my answer. I don't know, it just dropped off again.
Way to go.
Does anyone have any questions for Jane? Okay, we'll move to B, director of public works.
None.
Okay. Then we'll move to C, police chief.
Mine's also in the packet.
Are there any questions for Chris? Okay, we'll move to D, library director, and Ally is out.
Yeah, she's
Did
at a
you have
conference.
anything?
No, we'll have a board meeting on Tuesday. So
Okay,
that, yeah.
all right.
Story hour started again, I'm sure she would have mentioned that,
Oh,
just on
yes.
Wednesday, yeah.
All right, then we'll go to E, attorney.
Nothing of note, working on some small projects that we've done. Happy to answer any questions you might have otherwise.
Any questions? Okay, then we'll move to F, administrator.
So, basically, an update on the four-way stop. I met with Dean Stanger this morning and the highway commissioner, and the highway committee chair, about the four-way stop out here on Old and Nash. And, basically, they were gonna look at the traffic counts over there. Basically, it's been, the number of accidents, I think, was at they said 3 to 4 in the last 5 years, of reported accidents in that area. We discussed potentially doing a four-way stop, but moving the center stop sign out into the kind of more towards the center of the road rather than having it at the side and the corner. So, otherwise, they were talking about the no stop right turn coming from Salt into the village, to remove that, because the state DOT has been trying to get away from doing those no stop right turns. So that was something they brought up, but they wanted to do a traffic count before and discuss it with their staff on other ideas and stuff like that before moving forward on it. So at this point, I'm gonna give them some time to come up with a response, I guess.
How do they do the traffic count? Do they personally come out, or do they set up a,
They come out and they asked if we had some employees that could check too, and
Sit in the car and come.
yeah, but so
yeah,
yeah.
okay, thanks.
Thank you for that update.
Other than that, the Fox Cities Economic Development meeting I had today, we kind of Outagamie County is looking at doing a housing study, and basically getting housing information and data. So I volunteered to help work with them on things if they needed any, if they had questions or needed anything from us. So that they're looking at doing in 2022. So
Looking at housing needs in the community, or?
yeah, as a whole,
Okay.
and options going forward. Basically, they kind of targeted this area in Greenville as areas where they want to see development, whether it's low income or medium income housing, workhouse or worker housing basically is the issue, and that's mostly in the Greenville area. But I think hearing, staying on the radar and kind of seeing what they're doing and stuff.
And you heard the express need for senior housing too? Voiced, yeah.
I get that was a voice, but it was a single voice, and I don't think the numbers are there. I would do a housing study before.
Well, housing study would be a good plan, but
Right. I
I've
mean,
heard it from a couple people, so.
Right. So. Any other questions?
No other questions? We'll go to G, building permit report. It looks like the September report was submitted.
In the October?
And October, yes.
Look at that.
Are there any questions? Okay, we'll go to 11, communication and miscellaneous business. A Black Otter Lake District News. Pat?
Yeah, we met last night. The harvester came back in pieces. I wish I had good news one of these times. So we are going to be meeting again the first part of December, and we are going to be seeking legal advice as to what to do, because Evergreen Equipment from Hayward has not refunded the $15,750 that he was paid. Returned the harvester without the new trailer that was to be built and without the new joysticks. So we have someone who will repair it and get it ready to run. So they are going to come to our December meeting, hopefully with an estimate on that. And hopefully we'll get it all in line. So I may be talking to you, we know it's separate from village work, but we're going to be looking for legal advice as to what to do.
Where was he located?
Pardon me?
Where was he located? Where was the harvester?
Hayward, that's where the repair is being done. So we have talked to, I talked to one attorney today, and I'm gonna talk to him a little further, so I'll keep you posted on it. I don't know if
Alright.
anybody has any questions.
Any questions? No? We'll move to B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News. Is there anything, Jack, since Jim is out?
Nope.
Okay. And C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News, there's none. D, Hortonville Civic Association, Peter,
I'm here.
anything
Nothing.
on the Civic Association?
Nothing at all.
Okay. E, Senior Activities Committee,
We met on November 11th, and we had a presentation by the Fox Valley Memory Project. We've been in communication with them regarding Purple Angel training. Jane is setting up a training with with them for the staff, and we're hoping to involve others that might be interested. What that is to build awareness about people with memory loss or dementia. And it's just basic information so that if someone would come, say to the library or in to pay their water bill or get a dog license or whatever, and just how to maybe be able to communicate better if you can tell someone who has memory loss. It's a very, very helpful training. Our January meeting, the Outagamie County Housing Authority is going to present on their program. They are the ones that run Pinewood, where we've been trying to do some advocacy on behalf of the residents there with them, so we'll be learning more about that agency. Our subcommittee met after the meeting, I believe just Tuesday, I think we met. So we are having, on December 14th, we're going to offer rides for the seniors in our van to see the lights for the hometown holiday route. We're gonna have a meal here and then head out on the route. If somebody wants to drive on their own, that's fine, but we're gonna gather here, give rides, and the van from the Housing Authority is also gonna be available to give rides. And then we are going to start potlucks up again on the 17th at noon. That's all I have on that one.
Any questions for Pat? Okay, we'll move to 12. Comments and suggestions from citizens present.
Judge Mark Schrader, I don't have a sign, although that was a suggestion here a couple of weeks ago from Trustee Strelo, but this will probably be the last one I'm here for a little while, because in December I gotta shift gears a little bit towards nomination, that sort of thing. But obviously the objective here has been to learn more about Hortonville and other municipalities. I do think you're probably gonna see another judge start next year. Judge McGinnis and one other judge and I were talking about this in the visits I've done here and elsewhere. And consensus was in those discussions, it's probably not a bad idea to continue that on an ongoing basis, but I suspect they'll be back at least a couple more times after the first of the year, and then you might start seeing somebody else. The idea, again, being all the judges live in Appleton, we all work in Appleton, we need to get out of Appleton so that we've got a better understanding of the communities we're serving, like Hortonville. So thanks for having me, and sorry I just took up 2 minutes of your time. So.
I saw some fireworks in Buchanan this week.
Yeah.
We thought we might not see the judge back.
No, I have to say I did not expect to hear the word pig sanctuary mentioned quite that often when I went to the meeting. But yeah, that one got a little intense, at least early on. So anyway,
Special needs pigs in Buchanan.
yeah,
I've heard about
it was
that.
interesting. So
Well, thank you for
I'll send
coming.
you your-
thanks for having me.
Okay, yeah, you can send the link to
And
that.
for listening to that speech again. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, 13, we would need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session under state statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Okay, we will now need 5 minutes to clear the meeting room. 17, any action on matters discussed in closed session? There are none. 16, I need a motion to adjourn.
18.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Peter? We are now adjourned.